Hey there everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the 10 books that are on my October TBR. Unfortunately, I will not be able to read all of my spooky season TBR in 1 month because there were about 30 books. So if you want to go see that video, I'll link it down below. But I am making my own priority TBR that I have to get to. So naturally, we have witchy reads, we have dark academia, we have some thrillers, so I'm really excited about this time of year. Obviously, I'm in a sweater and this is definitely my preferred outfit, so let's get into what I'm planning on reading. Okay, so we're going to start with dark academia. I've never actually read a dark academia book, or what I think is classified as a dark academia book, so I am a little bit nervous that I'm not going to like this genre. I love academia, but sometimes it comes off as pretty pretentious, and in fall sometimes I just want a cozy kind of comfy vibe, not necessarily straining my brain to understand what's going on. But I've seen so many good reviews of these books, so I am so hopeful that I'll end up falling in love with them too. And these are the 3 most classic dark academia books, so let's get into it. The first one, If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. I'm sure you've seen so many things about this book. I believe this follows college students who are involved in theater and they focus on Shakespeare, and there is some type of murder. And I saw Katie is reading actually read this book, and she said that she ended up being really obsessed with it. I've seen everybody just get so excited about it. I'm not a Shakespearean girly, but I do have high hopes that I'll identify with the characters, and I'm hoping that I'll love the setting. That's my hope. Second, The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I am actually so intimidated by this book. I read just the small blurb on the back of the book and it took me 3 tries to get through it. I'm going to try to read it to you all without actually messing it up. Under the influence of a charismatic classics professor, a group of clever, eccentric misfits at a New England college discover a way of thought and life a world away from their banal contemporaries. But their search for the transcendent leads them down a dangerous path, beyond human constructs of morality. A mouthful, and just know I'm going to need some big brain energy to get through this one, and that's fine. I believe that it is worth it. I've seen such high praise of it, and I hope that I really like Donna Tartt. I saw that she had released The Goldfinch, and it took her 10 years to write it, so I think that she's a very clever author and obviously very passionate about what she does, so I'm hoping to really enjoy her writing. And the last book in the dark academia category is Babel by R.F. Kuang. This is just so stunning. This book is so stunning. I'm also intimidated by it, shockingly, but also it is a brick. So I am really looking forward to it. I've never read R.F. Kuang's writing, but I've heard that it's beautiful but also devastating and makes you really think about the world and how things are. She pulls from things that have actually happened, and when you consider that, it makes it a lot sadder that it wasn't just a work of fiction. But I have heard just amazing things about her, about this book, so I'm excited. I'm excited about all this. I'm just an excited person. Next, let's talk about the 2 thrillers that I want to get to this month. First, a very classic A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I have never been convinced to read this series. It's YA, and sometimes I really like YA, mostly in fantasies, not really too much else. But I've heard that this 3rd book is controversial, and what I've heard about it makes me more intrigued to read it. So I want to go ahead and start picking this up. So I'm, you guessed it, really looking forward to it. And then the other thriller is an advanced reader's copy of The Fury by Alex Michaelides. This is the author of The Silent Patient and The Maidens, and I read The Maidens last year. Well, I read it in October, and it was perfect for that time of year. And then The Silent Patient obviously was so amazing. It was the book that really got me back into reading. So I am really hoping that this book does something very similar. I really enjoy his writing style. His plots have done such good things. This seems very close to Daisy Darker vibes by Alice Feeney, and I really did enjoy that book. I didn't like the twist in that book, but I overall like the setting. You are on an island, a murder has occurred, you can't get off of it, you're kind of turning on everyone. So I think that this is going to be so good, and the cover is pretty stunning. So I can't wait to read this one and review it for you all. It comes out in January of 2024, so look forward to that one. And then even though I have 16 witchy books actually on my physical TBR, I only have 2 on this list. They're all kind of in the back of my mind, like you need to read them this month, but these were my 2 priority ones. First is Cackle by Rachel Harrison. I have heard that this is just such a good book. I don't think it's a romance. I think it's just, actually I think this description does it very well. Wry, dark, and deliciously witchy. And then I believe it's about a woman who, for the most part of her life, has always played it safe, and then she meets this other woman who just seems otherworldly, like she has this draw to her, and they get close, but she hears people whispering about that she's not completely of this earth. Her house is in the middle of the woods. It feels a little off. So I think it'll be fun to see, I guess, more like friendship based, maybe. I don't know if that's even the case. Truly, I don't. But I think that this is going to be so much fun. And then Payback's a Witch by Lana Harper. I actually have all 4 books in the Thistle Grove interconnected series, and I'm just looking forward to it. One of my book talk people that I really like to look at for witchy reads, she said that this is just like the perfect setting, the perfect characters. It's just cozy, it's witchy, it's fantastic. I think that this is going to be very fun. I am already liking the writing style. It talks about how, I guess, our female main character, Emmy, has self-imposed an exile from her town, Thistle Grove, and her witch powers have been depleting because she hasn't been back to it. But it's self-imposed because, quote, only the very tiniest bit to do with Gareth Blackmore, heir to the most powerful magical family in town and casual breaker of hearts and destroyer of dreams. So I think that this is going to be so much fun. It's been on my TBR for forever, so I'm really looking forward to this book and hopefully getting into that entire Thistle Grove series. Okay, and then 3 other just kind of miscellaneous. They are kind of fantasy. I'm going to say that they're all fantasy in some elements, some more than others, and you'll see what I mean. So first, My Roommate is a Vampire by Jenny Levine. Honestly, just this cover I think is so fun, very retro, and it's super short, so it should be just like a lighthearted kind of, I believe it's like romancy, I think it's kind of comedic, and it has this obvious vampire element which makes it otherworldly. So I really like it when romances have just that additional fantasy element. It doesn't have to be too much, it could be very simple. But when it has that, it just gives the book more depth, more stakes. And so I really like that a lot about it. So I'm hoping for really good things because the cover is just a masterpiece. Next, Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer. And 1, the sprayed edges, I'll always show them off. But 2, I actually saw this author make a TikTok about this book, obviously, and she was doing like a dual role perspective, and she was saying villain is not synonymous with cute, and then she would turn back to herself and be like, well, they aren't antonyms either. Just like the 2 sides of this is red flag behavior, and then the other side is like, but he does it for her. So I'm so excited. This seems like so much fun. Assistant to the Villain, this woman has seen a job posting for an assistant to the villain, obviously, and then it's like a hot boss, but he does bad things. He pushed somebody off a building because he was being mean to her. Morally gray, not even a little bit. It's very gray behavior, but I'm kind of a sucker for it, so definitely a priority. And then lastly, The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I said I wanted to do a reading series on this in September, but I ended up not getting to it. So it's definitely a priority in October, and I also think that this is going to be the perfect time to read it too. The fall vibes. It's YA fantasy. It has like a sprinkle of romance, but for the most part, it's just politics. A human was brought up in the Fae court, and she has to prove herself to get into the court fully and be accepted. That's about all I know about it. It's a very short summary on the back. Obviously, I've seen a lot of great reviews on this book, and I think the only piece of advice that I've seen from others who have read this book and maybe didn't like it as much is it can be branded as a YA romantasy, and that's not really it. It's really more so of a fantasy with like the tiniest subplot of romance, and you really don't get much of the romance until later books. With that, I think I'm going in with the right mindset. I think that this sounds like a ton of fun, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. And those are the 10 books that I'm hoping to get to in the month of October. I am so hopeful because all of them, I put so many books on my TBR throughout the year that I'm going to pick up in October. And then it's October, and then I have 40 books that I need to read. So this is like my priority TBR. I'm sure I'll read off of it, but these are the ones that I really am hopeful that I'll get to. If you've read any of these, let me know which one I should start with in the comments down below. And as always, if you have any other suggestions about books that I should be adding to my TBR, please let me know. And that is all for today's video. I'm so excited about this month. Obviously, I've said it 10 times. Truly, it is one of my favorite seasons. I love the sweater weather, the coziness, and I really look forward to all of the cozy reads and the thriller reads and the romance reads. So all of them. I look forward to literally all of the reads. If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe. I am always here to chat with you all about books. I love talking about them and love this little community that's growing. So thank you all for being here, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!